So first of all, this isn't necessarily a review per se. I kind of just wanted to talk about this game in general. I'll have like whatever footage that I have. I didn't save much, but I have some footage and some pics, some screenshots and whatnot. So I'll have that kind of playing in the background. I kind of just talk about the things I did and didn't like about the game because the reason why I truly want to speak about it is I ended up rebuying it. I played the game the year it came out, but I was so busy I didn't really beat it, nor did I have time to focus on anything other than the story missions. Upon a second playthrough now, and I got to do everything I wanted, I got a deeper appreciation for this game. Like, I liked it a lot more the second time I played it, and that's very rare. There's only very few games I can say I played it the second time and I liked it even more. And a lot of the times, some of these games, like a Undertale or like a Transistor, you're supposed to play it multiple times and do different things if you want the full scope of the game. Like your individual story adventure goes from whatever it goes to, and it is what it is. But if you want extra lore details, character stuff, you gotta do different things, like doing the genocide pacifist run and then I think regular run in Undertale would pretty much give you a general idea of everything that's going on. So isn't really one of those games. It's just that I had the time to really soak it in, I think. And I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. If there's two superheroes you should know that I love to death from the time I was like born till now, it's Spider-Man and Superman. So let's just hop right in without further ado and talk about this game itself and why I think it's one of the greatest Spider-Man stories ever told, whether it's comic, movies, games, what have you. It's one of the best.
I got no time to parlay, unless it's big checks or parlays. I've been rich, it's not far away. Light the spliff and I stargaze. Consultation with the constellations. They said the world was in a dark phase. It got me desperado for protection. Carry big strap in a guitar case.
I guess the kind of first thing I'll say here before I hop right in is that I'm a huge comic book fan. Been reading comics my whole life, and that's literally, like, if you look at my shelf, most of the books I have that aren't novels, they're comics. Image, Marvel, DC, Vertigo, which is an imprint of DC. I got Valiant, I got Dark Horse, I got Aftershock, like you name it. Like, I'm a huge I'm a huge fan of comics, so I read them from all over the world. Spider-Man is something I've been into since I was very young, and I feel like I've always had a really good grasp on the character and how he should and shouldn't be handled. Like, I'll tell you, MCU Spider-Man, to Tom Holland, great kid. That's Tony Stark Jr. That's not Spider-Man. So that's kind of what I'm going with. But I felt like this game did a great job with the character of Peter Parker. Peter Parker has different phases in his life as Spider-Man, and depending on, like, when you're reading it or experiencing it, you'll see how he acts differently. Like, when he gets his powers, he's a teenager and he's pretty excited to be Spider-Man, but he's still kind of that geeky kid in school, and he's learning responsibility with his powers, and he can't overdo it and whatnot. Then you kind of have the college stage where he's kind of broke and he's just trying to make ends meet. Not that he wasn't already doing that in high school, but it's different now because he's got tuitions to pay and whatnot. And then you kind of got adult Peter, and adult Peter's different now. He's dealing with things with Mary Jane in a much more mature fashion because, like, this is finances now. And Peter's never really been too well off in money. There's been some stories where he's made some money and then ended up making some poor investments and whatnot, but and, like, if you've seen Spider-Verse too, like, Peter B. Parker, if I remember correctly, he, like, didn't he invest money in some kind of self-merchandise, and it didn't work out well for him. But yeah, I think this Peter is great because this is one of my favorite Peters to see. This is Peter when he's constantly doing science. I don't, like, with him and Doc Ock in the lab just trying to work on the machinery they're using for people with missing limbs and whatnot, and then, like, Ock upgrading it, and then you learning that he's basically kind of trying to save himself. Well, let's kind of hop in slowly. So combat in the game is good. It's a lot like Arkham Asylum, except, like, it makes sense to me. And the reason I say that is, like, I don't know if DC writers remember that Batman is supposed to be human, but he's just not ever. The way he was flying around Arkham is just like he's bouncing around and jumping around, and it's like, okay, it's cool and it's fun, but, like, Batman is pretty human. Like, he shouldn't be able to be doing that, especially exerting that much energy for that long of a time. But doing that as Spider-Man makes way more sense because Spider-Man can lift like 30 tons. Spider-Man is super powerful. Like, he holds his punches back. If you hit him, he kind of has to roll with it so you don't break your own hand. Like, he's one of those heroes that has to really, really hold back because he could just kill you with one punch. So you got to be careful. So I like that. The combat to me isn't crazy. It's nothing deep. It's nothing amazing. I found depth within it when I started unlocking more gadgets, and that's really where the fun came in. You know, you're trying to use crowd control. I might use a web bomb. Boom, everyone's kind of wrapped up, and I take out who I need to take out. Might use the web impact shooter to just, you know, if someone's near a wall or a car, just tie them to the car and a wall. Don't even have to really fight them and take their life out. And with the addition of each costume that you unlock giving you a special ability like Web Blossom, that one you kind of shoot webs everywhere and you could just, you know, stick enemies to the wall. Playing around with those is really good. I used to use the arms race a lot. That used to kind of electrify people, but Electric Punch ended up becoming my favorite one because you just kind of link the punches together and everyone's just shocked for a long time and you can kind of just go ham and do your little damage. But the combat to me is probably the part that's not like crazy, but just like with any game, I find you can find depth with it. Like, I don't think the Ninja Storm games are deep games, but if you take the time to really try to unlock the secrets of that game, you could find some sort of next tier of deepness to it. So that's kind of what I'm saying with Spider-Man PS4. Like, going crazy, dodging around, perfect dodging, hitting them into the air, using, you know, taking their own weapons, hitting them with it, using the environment, the different gadgets, the spider bots and everything. The combination of all of those do make the combat fun after a while. But to me, the best part of the gameplay itself is just traversal, to be honest. There's a lot of good fast travel stuff and points, and how you get it is cool when you beat like certain stations and certain missions and whatnot. But I found myself always wanting to swing from point A to point B. So if I'm in some part of the game and I gotta go all the way to the next side, I'm still swinging, bro. I'm swinging. I'm gonna say platform. I'm gonna say like parkouring. You know, free running. I gotta do it because, like, to me, the swinging in this game is amazing. It's therapeutic, and it's fun because, like, you could really book it if you get good at swinging. You could really book it. Like not touch the ground. You swing in. You're doing the little zip point thing. You know, when he jumps off and he like launches himself, it's like you can get there fast too. And I always have fun doing that with the one suit that speeds up your mobility. I was getting from point A to point B like I was the Flash or some shit. So it was dope. I had a good time. The visuals. I mean, my TV's not crazy. I don't have a PS4 Pro, so I don't know if they had 4K stuff. But the visuals to me were good. They were fine. They were nothing crazy. It didn't blow me away. The sound I thought was fitting for a Spider-Man game. Certain jingles, certain moments, certain, you know, OSTs and whatnot. Like, I can't even remember it that crazy, but I do remember like it was fitting. But I know I wasn't blown away by the soundtrack itself. So the thing that I really appreciated about this Spider-Man game is that I felt that it told a really cool and dope Spider-Man story with a lot of characters, or, you know, villains that I don't get to see too often. Like, I'll see Mr. Negative in the comics and whatnot, but this was to me the best way he's ever been used. I really like Martin Lee in this game, his goals and whatnot, and the slow burn of learning the grander scope of what's going on in New York City. You start off with arresting Fisk, but what you didn't realize is with Wilson Fisk being incarcerated, what you did was really open the power vacuum, because as much as a piece of shit that he is, he kind of keeps New York in this chokehold, and he keeps it under control. But really, what happened with his defeat is all of the people that were kind of oppressed went crazy. Hammerhead went crazy, and then because some of these gangs and whatnot, even like I said Hammerhead, but Tombstone, like, you know, all these people now, they're coming out the woodworks, doing their own little thing, their own little operations, and now New York City just became this ground zero for all these crime lords to start doing their shit, which forced Norman Osborn to have to get a Silver Sable. They're like a private security force for hire, and they went extreme in their defensive measures, and some of them were just straight up criminals, and it was just crazy, like how chaotic New York got. and I loved all the personal storylines with Peter. He's not talking to MJ right now. Mary J's doing her thing. You got the stuff with Martin Lee. Like Doc Ock, you're seeing kind of slowly but surely descend into like madness. It's just crazy. Like there's so much going on, and I felt like they handled it really well. And even when I'm going off to do side quests, like getting my crime tokens, doing my challenges, the Taskmaster stuff, Screwball, everything, it all feels important because you can't really ignore any one thing. Like Taskmaster's out here trying to like study you and get stronger. Screwball is just fucking around on the internet, and it's like, yeah, you want to not take it seriously because I got this other stuff to do, because like Norman Osborn has got the devil's breath, this and that, the other, but it's like it's still important. And juggling things of various importance is like a Peter Parker staple. Like, I gotta stop this bad guy, but my relationship is also failing. I haven't paid rent either. Like, all of these things are equally important, and Spider-Man always gotta juggle it, and like he usually makes the right decision. Yeah, okay, I'm homeless, but I gotta save the city, and it's just he's just like one of the best heroes. I just fucking love that guy, man. But some of those the challenge in any game that you usually give me these challenges, whereas there's like 3 tiers, like a bronze, a gold, and a silver. I usually just do it once, and whatever I get is what I get. So like, I didn't go back and do all these screwball challenges to like ultimately get the highest mark. I didn't give a fuck, but I did it. I usually got about 2. Every once in a while I got 1, but yeah, how all those come full circle was dope. Except really the Taskmaster one. I don't really know what he came to do. I can't remember exactly. You just kind of like challenge you every once in a while. He's like, you should join this thing, and you're like nah. And he's like, alright. Then he's like gone. So is what it is. But like, what I'm saying is like, when Hammerhead kind of stuck his head out or whatever, there's all these crimes. Like, they're like Hammerhead goons or whatever. They're taking out, like, they're taking hostages, they're bombing stuff, they're going crazy, and like, as you're quelling that and you're defeating them and getting crime tokens, you're kind of helping the city, and then you're kind of luring out the big bad. When Tombstone was doing that, as you're taking down Tombstone faction, that's how you get to kind of go stop Tombstone himself, because you can't really hurt him, and he's so strong. You use what you gotta do to beat him. You do this with the Silver Cable, their company, when they started going rogue and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And I like how it just ties into like whoever is things. So like, when the demons are running around and Martin Lee's trying to do what you gotta do to take out Norman Osborn, they're like in the city now, and you gotta go clear it out. So even though you're constantly kind of detouring, like I'm gonna go to the main story, and it's like Sector 5, there's a crime here, demons are attacking a bank. It makes sense for you to detour to stop it. That's equally as important. It's what Martin Lee is gonna go do. And I find that a lot of games don't do that. I do side quests that feel completely disconnected from the main story, and like when I'm doing it, it's like, as much as I love Breath of the Wild, and it's a great game, when you really think about like the fact that I just be going snowboarding and cooking and getting bananas, like, bro, go save Hyrule. Like, you got shit to do. Like, go save Hyrule. Why am I dicking around? Like, I'm snowboarding down the mountain when Zelda is in the castle, like fighting for her fucking life. So I like the how that is all connected, like a web. Oh shit, you know what I'm saying? Alright, now the suits, awesome. So fucking good, because the suits are going through every single piece of Spider-Man like lore. Like, you're talking about comics, some of the first comics, some of the later comics. We're talking Sam Raimi's movie, we're talking Tom Holland suits, we're talking The Amazing Spider-Man, we're talking other video games, and then all the types of suits that we had. Miguel O'Hara's 2099 suit. You got like some of the original suits. This game gave you some original ones and its own like default Spider-Man costume and everything. It was just so dope. Like, seeing Spider-Man Noir's outfit, all that stuff, this Iron Spider, everything, and they all have different abilities when you like max out your special, your focus bar. And it was just nice because like I could not just stay in one suit. Like, I was constantly switching outfits every second I could. Like, okay, I'll put this on now. I'm like, oh, it's nighttime, put on a dark suit, gotta get the stealth, like I was doing the most. I just had a great time. So the 2 parts of the games that I really hated a lot even though they made sense, were the MJ and Miles Morales sections where you gotta sneak around. MJ gets the lure from Spider-Man, you gotta sneak around and do like investigative reporting stuff, and Miles was doing his own little thing, get around. And he can hack stuff because he's smart, right? So he can hack other machines, use distractions to walk around and whatnot. Didn't like those sections. I don't really like stealth sections in any game anyways, especially in games that are not centered around stealth. Like, very much, it's not that Spider-Man does not have to take out people silently. Like, I found that, to me, like, if there's a mission where there's a bunch of people and they're like dead hostages and guns are right to their head, I know a lot of times I could just jump down and fight them anyways, but I always said to me, like, this is a time where Spider-Man would pick them off one by one, so I would play the game according to how I felt it should have been played at the time. But I don't really like stealth at all. It's very annoying. Especially, like, the worst case scenario with Spider-Man is you get caught and you whip everyone's ass. Right? Miles pre-powers and MJ, they can't fight, so you get caught, you usually gotta do the sneaking over again, and I just didn't really enjoy that. That's like easily, anytime that shit came on, it's like, oh, alright, here we go. But well, I guess it wasn't the worst thing ever, but, you know. Speaking of those two characters, they were really good. I really liked MJ in this game. She was MJ. I loved it. Like, her Peter relationship, how it was on and off, and her basically needing to get him to be able to trust her the same way that she trusts him. It was something hard for him because obviously he's Spider-Man, right? And he knows what comes with the territory in the city, and he's like, yeah, he's working with her, but he's keeping her like under his thumb, like, you know, kind of know your place, get your ass in this box over here, and, you know, stay in that lane. And MJ wanted to do more, help more, and I like that they kept butting heads on that, and Peter ended up, you know, coming to terms with it, and he needed her in the long run because of what happened to his aunt at the end of the game. Miles was also pretty cool. I didn't have too much of a strong opinion of him in this game, but the stuff with his dad, with Jefferson, when that happened, I was really sad. And then seeing Peter as Spider-Man, and kind of Peter also kind of just keeping an eye on him, getting him to help with the shelter and everything with Martin Lee and his aunt, that was really good for him. But I especially love when he gets his powers, and like the last scene of, like, not like the DLC, I guess, but like the last scene, kind of like when he's like, all right, yo, okay, yo, don't freak out. And he like does a little flip, and he's on the wall, and then Peter does it too. It's just like that's such a good moment. It's like the best ending scene, and the potential for the next game is insane because it's like, are we gonna do what Miles and Peter do? And Miles is not as experienced yet, so maybe he feels clumsier at the beginning or whatnot. But you know that he has, because of the spider he was bitten by, he has camouflage and a little venom blast, so he can actually do more just with his basic power set and whatnot. Are you gonna be trading him? Will he be like a little partner you have, or are we gonna go to a route of the Ultimate Universe where Peter Parker dies and Miles Morales becomes the new, you know, Spider-Man? You kind of think of Into the Spider-Verse. If you've seen that movie, think of it like that, in that way, where Fisk ends up killing Peter, and then Miles Morales becomes the new Spider-Man. So the potential for the future games, to me, if they're gonna continue the Spider-Man game stuff, is insane, and I can't wait. Now I gotta talk about Doc Ock, because I think they did such a good job with the rogues gallery of villains in this game. I think they all came and did what they needed to do. Silver Sable, she was awesome. Felicia, when she came with the Black Cat stuff, and how it tied, and the DLC stuff too. Cause remember, DLC was really kind of like Hammerhead turning himself into like a machine and going crazy and whatnot. All that stuff was really good. I felt they all came in, except Taskmaster. Taskmaster seems to be the most out of place character in this game to me. I'm not sure why he's here, and maybe if you remember, you can remind me. I just really don't remember him doing nothing but like I was swinging, and he would randomly like throw his little shit at me to capture me, and then I got fired up, and he like fucked off. And I don't know what he was doing while he was here, but yeah, it's great. But Doc Ock is just the slow IV drip. Seeing him slowly but surely, because of his medical condition, kind of slip into madness was awesome, because you're working with this guy, you're on his side, Norman Osborn's the asshole, this and that, the other, but you just keep seeing these signs of, it could be better, I can do this, no, you know, this and that, the other, and then it's just when he comes full circle and now he's out there doing his thing, it's like you feel bad, because part of it's like, okay, it's not even totally his fault. It's his own brain. Two, you worked so hard with him, you did so much with him, you helped him so much, and he helped you so much. You needed each other. You really don't want to do this, but you got to do it. So when you put on that last suit and you go and you fight him, it's just a good moment, a great climactic build up from point A, from the start to the crescendo to the top to the pinnacle. Like, it was just a great confrontation. It felt worth it. The payoff was great. Mind you, I was really good at the game by then, so I whooped his ass, but it was still fun. The collectibles are cool. First thing I actually did, okay, so I'll say this. First thing I usually do in these types of games that are like kind of big, I thought this game was large enough that I felt large enough and jam packed full of content that I felt that the map wasn't the biggest I've ever played on, but it felt big enough that because there's so much I can do. And I heard that it's pretty like accurate. I can't speak. I'm not from New York, from Toronto, but I heard that like certain places of interest and like Brooklyn Bridge and all that stuff is like pretty accurate. Like they did it real, like that, like the Madison Square or whatever. Like it's all that stuff is in the game. Like the game really reflects how New York looks in real life. I don't know if that's entirely true because I'm not from there, but that's cool if they did that. But shit, what was I gonna say before I said that? Oh, so like in this game you have to unlock parts of the city like Manhattan, Chinatown, Harlem, you know, whatever, Queens. I don't know New York, but but you have to like do the thing where you do like a tower and it kind of scans out and you see stuff. Like, you know, if you think of Breath of the Wild, you put the Sheikah Slate to the towers, you unlock part of the map. I think the Assassin's Creed, you like climb to the top or you do something. I remember doing Assassin's Creed. In like Horizon Zero Dawn, you find the tall necks. Usually what I used to do was unlock the whole map for all these games and then go play. This game I didn't do that. Mostly because there was probably like 3 occasions I thought I had the whole map and I didn't. But I thought that the map was contained enough that it wasn't so big, but there was not a lot of empty spaces. Because no matter what you're doing, you're swinging. Oh, crime token. Oh, Harry has like a health station here. He wants you to clear the polluted water. Like, there's always stuff to do. And then even if you just go down in the city, you can be Spider-Man. You could high five people, take a picture, talk to the people, and that's stuff Spider-Man does. So ultimately, I thought from start to finish, this was a truly enjoyable experience. This is my favorite superhero, I guess, single player video game I've ever played. Like, I got Justice up there, but that's a fighting game, even though there's, I guess, the story mode single player and whatnot. I got Justice up there, but this is probably my favorite. I like it way better than the Arkham Asylum 4 games. And I'm probably forgetting so many things that I want to say, like the puzzle stuff. Like, it's not fun. They weren't really that fun, but they weren't really that hard. But you going through all of the little spectrograph stuff and mixing the chemicals or trying to identify what the unknown substance is. Very good, very integral to Peter's character, the science part of him, the thinker, all of that stuff. And it ended up strong with the DLC. I thought the DLC was really good. So the story, fantastic from start to finish. This is a true Spider-Man story in every sense of the word as far as I'm concerned. And you get to feel like... I'm not going to say that. I was going to make the joke, like every Spider-Man review for this game says, you really feel like Spider-Man. They're right, but it's just shut the fuck up. Anywho, that's all I have to say for the time being. I hope, they make another one, and the next one is just as good. Collectibles are fun. Good puzzles, not too big, jam-packed content. The villains were awesome. Rogues Gallery, great. Sinister Six, not Sinister Six, but getting to fight Electro, all those guys, awesome. All the suits, crazy. Peter was well handled. Miles, MJ, Doc Ock, Martin Lee, Aunt May, rest in peace in this game. She didn't deserve that, but that moment it has so many emotional moments too. Cause that moment hurt me, because I know me, I'd save her. But then you gotta live with that decision. But the right thing to do was to use the serum, whatever, to save the city. But yeah, this game to me is 9 out of 10. Great game. If you haven't played it, I don't know if it's still on sale, but I ended up rebuying it for like $10, and it's the game of the year edition. But anywho, I'm out of here. Y'all take care.
Same old me.